Producing 1 kilogram of aluminum requires more electricity than your refrigerator uses in 3 months. Smelting consumes 3% of the world's electrical supply. And the result is the cheapest thing in your kitchen: a roll of foil that costs $3 and gets thrown away after 1 use. Aluminum is the most abundant metal in Earth's crust, 8% of everything beneath your feet. Yet for most of history, nobody could extract it. Rarer than gold. Napoleon III served honored guests on aluminum plates. Everyone else ate off gold. So how did the most common metal become the most expensive, then collapse to the cheapest, and the part of this story you will want to tell someone at dinner tonight? In 1825, a Danish chemist named Hans Christian Ørsted produced the first tiny flecks of aluminum in a lab, so small and impure that scientists could barely study them. It took 30 years before anyone made enough to hold in their hand. When they did, the world went mad for it. Lighter than iron, shinier than silver, resistant to corrosion. In 1855, 12 bars of aluminum were displayed alongside the French crown jewels at the Paris Exposition. Napoleon III commissioned aluminum plates for state banquets. His most honored guests ate off aluminum. Everyone else settled for gold. In 1852, aluminum cost $34 per ounce. Gold cost $19. The metal in every kitchen drawer today was nearly twice the price of gold. Then in 1886, 2 22-year-olds on opposite sides of the Atlantic cracked the problem at almost the same time. Charles Martin Hall in Ohio and Hall-Héroult in France both discovered that dissolving aluminum oxide in molten cryolite and running an electric current through it would separate pure aluminum. Neither knew the other existed. They filed patents within weeks of each other. Within 4 years, aluminum dropped from the price of gold to the price of steel. Hall founded the Pittsburgh Reduction Company. It became Alcoa. It starts underground. Bauxite ore, a rusty clay-red rock, is the raw source of aluminum. Mined in massive open pits across Australia, Guinea, and Brazil, bauxite contains 50 to 60% aluminum oxide locked together with iron oxide and silica. 3.6 tons of this red rock will yield just 0.9 tons of aluminum. First, the Bayer process. Workers crush the bauxite and mix it with sodium hydroxide in pressurized tanks called digesters. Heat and pressure dissolve the aluminum compounds while impurities settle out as thick red sludge called red mud. The solution is filtered, cooled, and aluminum hydroxide precipitates out. Then it is calcined, heated to over 1,000 degrees, until what remains is a fine white powder, pure alumina. Now comes the part that eats electricity, the Hall-Héroult process. That same method those 2 22-year-olds invented. Alumina dissolves in a bath of molten cryolite inside carbon-lined steel cells called pots. An electric current of up to 315,000 amps passes through the bath. Your house runs on about 200 amps. The current rips oxygen from the aluminum atoms. Pure molten aluminum, heavier than the electrolyte, sinks to the bottom. Workers siphon it off every 24 to 48 hours. A single pot room can stretch over a kilometer long with hundreds of these cells in a row. Each cell produces over 100 kilograms per hour at a steady 960 degrees. The energy consumption averages 14 kilowatt-hours per kilogram, roughly what it takes to run a home for an entire day. The molten aluminum is cast into ingots weighing several tons, reheated and fed through hot rolling mills at 350 to 500 degrees, squeezing from 20 centimeters thick down to 5 millimeters. Then cold rolling presses thinner and thinner. Here is where something curious happens. At the final pass, The aluminum is 0.016 millimeters thin, so fragile that a single sheet would tear under the rollers. So manufacturers double two sheets together and roll them as one. The side touching the polished steel roller comes out shiny. The side pressed against the other sheet stays dull. That is the entire reason your foil has two different sides. No coating, no design, just physics. The scale is staggering. In 2022, the world produced 69 million tons of primary aluminum. The smelting process consumed more electricity than the entire continent of Africa. Over 850,000 tons became foil in Europe alone. That energy ripples outward. Aluminum smelting accounts for roughly 2% of global greenhouse gas emissions. 12 tons of CO2 for every ton of metal. Entire countries have built their energy infrastructure around it. Iceland, with 500,000 people and zero bauxite, is the world's 12th largest aluminum producer because it has cheap hydropower. But here is where the story flips. Aluminum can be melted down and recycled infinitely without losing a single property. No degradation, no quality loss, and recycling it requires 95% less energy than making it from scratch. Melting scrap aluminum takes 660 degrees. Smelting new aluminum from ore takes 960 degrees plus massive electrical current. Over 30 million tons of aluminum scrap are recycled globally each year. Every crumpled ball of foil you toss in the bin could become new foil, a beverage can, or part of an airplane wing. But the strangest part of this story is still coming. You cannot destroy aluminum. You can crumple it, melt it, bury it in a landfill. It will not degrade. Not in a year. Not in 1,000. That ball of foil in your kitchen trash is functionally immortal, and it can become new foil, a beverage can, or part of an aircraft without losing a single property. That is the strangest part of this story. Humanity spent 3,000 years unable to extract the most common metal on Earth. Then two strangers cracked it in the same year. Within a generation, the price collapsed so completely that we now use an indestructible, infinitely recyclable material to cover last night's leftovers and throw it in a bin. Next time you tear a sheet off the roll, that is your dinner party line. The cheapest thing in your kitchen is also the one thing in it that will never die. 14 kilowatt-hours to make a kilogram. $3 a roll. From Napoleon's banquet table to your kitchen drawer in less than 2 centuries. That's the process. We reveal how things actually work, one story at a time. If there's something you'd like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.